In the heart of 20th century England, nestled among the rolling green hills and modern thoroughfares, stood two grand estates whose proximity bred a most unusual rivalry. To the casual observer, it was merely a neighborhood misunderstanding between wealthy landowners. But to those steeped in family lore, it was something far more ancient. 500 years prior, in the 15th century, the noble House of York and the House of Lancaster had clashed in a bloody, generations-long feud that history books would immortalize as the War of the Roses. Tonight, beneath the pale moonlight of a British evening, history was preparing to repeat itself in a delightfully eccentric fashion. The proud, military-minded House of Dumbarton was about to clash once again with the fiercely loyal, mountain-bred House of Clampett in what could only be described as the Second War of the Roses. On the grounds of the Clampett estate, which the inhabitants fondly treated as their own personal kingdom, young Jethro Bodine was busily preparing for battle. He was clad in a mismatch of heavy metal pieces that only vaguely resembled medieval armor, clanking loudly with every step he took. His cousin, Ellie May, watched him with a mixture of amusement and concern from the porch. "Jethro," called Ellie May, her voice ringing out across the lawn. "What do you want?" "You better go talk to Granny before you go charging over to the next castle." Jethro adjusted a metal visor that kept slipping down over his eyes, speaking with the absolute gravity of a legendary warrior. "I am only riding over there to bring down a challenge. Then we can commence fighting the War of the Roses. But Granny wants to sneak up on us. She do not understand the feudal system. Knights do not sneak." Ellie May shook her head, her long curls bouncing. "Well, you had better sneak back because Granny is going to find your 10 breeches if you ruin them clothes. Look, Ellie, do you want to get yourself a handsome knight and get cropped up and live happy ever after?" "Well, of course I do," Ellie May admitted, smiling at the thought of a fairy tale romance. "Well, then we have got to fight my way, the feudal way, with honor, bravery, and intelligence," Jethro declared proudly. Ellie May patted the side of his improvised steed, trying hard not to laugh.
"Okay.
"Good luck, brave, intelligent knight." Jethro puffed out his chest, raised his wooden lance, and shouted to his mount.
Giddy up."
"Jethro," Ellie May yelled after him, bursting into laughter. "You are all backwards." "Jethro." "Yeehaw." Jethro bellowed, completely unbothered by the fact that he was facing the tail of his horse, trotting merrily down the road toward the neighboring estate. Meanwhile, at the majestic Dumbarton Castle, the atmosphere was far more rigid, though no less chaotic. Colonel Dumbarton, a man of strict discipline and short temper, was surveying his property. His loyal butler and advisor, Baldar, rushed into the study with an expression of utter disbelief. "Colonel Dumbarton, sir," Baldar gasped, catching his breath. "That Black Knight who rode through your rose garden last year is back." The colonel froze, his face turning a deep shade of crimson. "Back? And riding through your rose garden again? Why, do you not hear, Baldar?" The colonel marched out to the veranda just in time to see Jethro, still sitting backwards on his horse, trampling through a pristine row of prize-winning English roses. "Stop riding through my roses, you clumsy lout," the colonel roared, shaking his fist. Jethro pulled on the reins, turning his torso around to face the furious homeowner. "I ain't no lout. I am Sir Jethro from the next castle." The colonel rubbed his eyes, turning to his butler. "I say, is he sitting on his horse backwards?" "Yes, sir," Baldar confirmed solemnly. "A mark of contempt." The colonel glared at the intruder. "Begone, you rotter, or I will set the dogs on you." "Too late," Jethro shouted back, waving his wooden lance. "We is challenging you to the War of the Roses. We will be back with our rabble and pillage you."
"Giddy up."
With another loud shout, Jethro urged his horse forward, causing even more damage to the flora. "He is riding back through those roses, sir," Baldar noted dryly. "Curse you, Black Knight." The colonel shouted into the wind, his military pride wounded. "I accept your challenge. This is war." While the drumbeats of war were sounding in the countryside, a different kind of chaos was unfolding in London. Milburn Drysdale, The anxious and high-strung banker who managed the massive Clampett fortune was pacing back and forth in his luxury hotel suite. He picked up the telephone to call the estate. Back at the Clampett mansion, the sophisticated butler, Mr. Flavisham, answered the ringing phone. "Me, Mr. Dumbledore?" "Yes, sir," a voice replied on the other end. "Mr. Drysdale, calling from London." "Oh, thank you," Flavisham said, clearing his throat. "Baggage here, Mr. Drysdale. You still at the hotel?" "Yes, Mr. Clampett," Drysdale said, his voice crackling over the wire as Jed Clampett took the receiver from the butler. "And I have some wonderful news for you. It will not be necessary for you to come to London to see the Queen." "Well, fine," Jed said, scratching his head in confusion. "But how are we going to give her back the deed to Canada?" "I got it with me." "Now, that is the exciting part," Drysdale explained, sweating profusely as he juggled his various schemes. "I have been using my influence, contacting all my connections." Just then, a loud knock sounded at Drysdale's hotel door. "Come in." He turned back to the phone. "And as a result of my superhuman efforts, Queen Elizabeth is coming to Clamford Castle to see you." "Oh no," Jed said, feeling a wave of modesty.
"Oh no."
"But she do not have to do that." No, she insists." Drysdale lied smoothly, knowing he had actually hired an actress to play the part to satisfy the family's eccentricities. "After what you have done for her, she will not have it any other way." "It sure is a mighty great honor for us, Mr. Drysdale," Jed said, genuinely touched by the gesture. "Glad to do it," Drysdale said. "Oh, and by the way, do not spin it around. Security reasons, you know." "Oh, yes, I will be with her. Fabricium to you." Back in London, an associate looked at Drysdale with utter bewilderment. "You are a madman. Now, just hiring someone to impersonate the Queen's minister in Hollywood is one thing, but no actress in the United Kingdom would consent to a—" "Now, just hold it right there," Drysdale interrupted, waving his hands defensively. "You must remember the Clamford family historian is Jethro. He thinks this Elizabeth is still queen." Meanwhile, back at the Dumbarton residence, the family was dealing with the colonel's sudden military mobilization. His daughter, Vanessa, sat in the living room with her husband, Osgood, looking thoroughly exhausted. "Vanessa, darling, we simply must do something about your father," Osgood insisted, pacing the floor. "Oh, sit down, Osgood," Vanessa sighed, not looking up from her magazine. "You knew Daddy drank when you married me." "He is getting worse," Osgood argued. "Other people see pink elephants. He sees black knights." "That was a year ago," Vanessa reminded him. "He has seen him again," Osgood cried. "Claims the fellow rode up this morning and challenged him." Just then, the colonel burst into the room, wearing a vintage military uniform and holding an old ceremonial saber. "Arm yourselves. Take cover. The War of the Roses may begin at any moment."
"Charge."
"The War of the Roses?" Osgood muttered, rubbing his temples. "That was 500 years ago." "Be it, Vanessa," the colonel barked, completely serious. "All right, dear," Vanessa said to her husband, whispering quietly. "I will hide his brandy." Out in the Clampett yard, Jethro was working on his secret weapon. He had constructed a massive wooden catapult in the middle of the lawn. Ellie Mae walked over, inspecting the contraption. "Many a castle has been captured with these here catapults," Jethro bragged, tightening a thick rope. "How are you going to get it inside the wall?" Ellie Mae asked. "I ain't," Jethro grinned. "It is going to get me inside." "Oh, it is going to throw you like a slingshot," Ellie Mae realized, her eyes widening. "Ain't you never heard of Sir Lancelot, a sail in the walls?" Jethro asked proudly. "This here is what sent him a-sailing. Ain't you likely to get hurt?" Ellie Mae asked, worried. "Heck no," Jethro dismissed. "That is why knights wear his armor. I reckon that is where they got the expression, fly by a night." "But what are you going to do after you get inside?" Ellie Mae pressed. "I am going to what you call lay about me with my trusty sword," Jethro explained, mimicking a sword fight in the air. "Then when I get him all pillaged, I will open the gate, let you in. You can pick yourself out at night and get troughed up." "Why, Hank Forrest, I do not want him if he is all pillaged," Ellie Mae pouted. "I will just stun the good-looking." You sit in the chair and hold it down till we get there, Jethro instructed, pointing to the catapult basket. Just then, Granny marched out of the house, holding a wooden rolling pin and looking for trouble. Granny! Ellie Mae called out.
Getro.
Granny shouted, looking around the yard. Where is everybody? What is a blue blazes? So long, sir. Jethro yelled as he tripped the release lever on the catapult. With a loud whoosh, Jethro was launched into the air, flying straight over the high stone wall separating the two properties. Back over at the Dumbarton estate, the colonel was peering through a pair of binoculars, scanning the horizon for the enemy. See, Vanessa. Here is some excitement, he shouted toward the house. Heller in Twickenham claims to have seen a speckled-breasted chap prepare to repel attackers. The Black Knight is coming. Osgood walked out onto the patio, looking thoroughly bored. Was it a male or a female chap? Does not say, the colonel muttered, squinting through the lenses. He then turned furiously to Osgood. Listen to me, you bird-watching pop. This is war. England expects every man to do his duty. Man the battlements. Vanessa joined them, shaking her head. Vanessa, I thought you said. Osgood started. I did. Vanessa interrupted. I put his brandy away. Then it is time to put him away, Osgood whispered.
Relax, dear.
I have it. Send him to Scotland to visit your cousin Sandra. Sandra is coming here, Vanessa noted gloomily. So is Emlyn.
Drat.
The colonel shouted, rummaging through the patio furniture. Where is my brandy? Man needs a drop before battle. Sit down, Daddy, Vanessa urged. I told you, the Black Knight is coming. Yes, yes, on his white charger, the colonel scoffed. No, 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 on a black truck, Osgood corrected, looking toward the driveway. Black truck? The colonel asked, confused. Yes, and the blighter is captured a fair damsel and has her strapped to a ducking stool, Osgood observed, watching Ellie Mae drive up in the family truck with Granny sitting in the back on a wooden crate. Coming, Vanessa? Osgood asked, turning toward the house. Yes, dear, Vanessa replied. We will be in the solarium. You will suffer. The colonel glared at the approaching vehicle. If I had you in India, I would spread you on an anthill. Blasted hippie. Where have they hidden my brandy? Out in the garden. Jethro had landed squarely in a bush, his armor tangled in the branches. Ellie Mae ran over to untangle him. Here you are, Ellie, Jethro muttered from inside his helmet. Just cut the rope and away I go. Now remember, do not finish no hand tonight. I will not, Ellie Mae promised, tugging at the vines. I will just sack him. The colonel, still hunting for his hidden liquor, wandered into the garden tower. That glib squeak is buried it somewhere, he grumbled. Well, never mind. How could he have seen you? Suddenly, the colonel tripped over a loose stone and dropped his weapon. General, you forgot your sword. He shouted to no one in particular. He stumbled upon a bottle he had hidden weeks ago. That is what I call a brandy with authority. He took a deep swig just as Jethro broke free from the bushes, clanking loudly. The Black Knight. The colonel gasped, dropping the bottle. Back at the Clampett mansion, Jed was trying to organize the troops. All right, the rest of you, pay attention, he said to a small group of confused neighborhood handymen. We are catching herb spoils. Ellie Mae ran back into the house, out of breath. Ellie, what is going on? Who are these fellas? Jed asked. Granny is guerrillas, Ellie Mae explained. Granny stepped forward, looking proud of her makeshift army. We got a sorry lot of rabble, Jed, but I called out the cowards. I was hoping to come up with the dirty dozen, but all I could get was the filthy four. Come on, you fellas. Get up and go back to your job, Jed sighed, shaking his head at the modern workers who had no idea what they had volunteered for. Wait a minute, Jed, Granny protested. These are the Clampest commandos, ready to lay down their life for your honor. They know everybody ain't coming back. Yeah, because everybody ain't going, Jed pointed out dryly. You gonna chicken out again? Granny snapped, crossing her arms. Is we gonna be forever known as the Beverly Hills Yellow Bellies? The Queen is coming, Jed reminded her calmly. Here?
Granny asked, her eyes widening.
She is gonna pick up the deed to Canada, Jed said. Then we have got to finish the feud. Finish? Granny echoed, confused. Over at the Dumbarton estate, Osgood and Vanessa heard a loud crash coming from the garden. The old boy must have had a fit, Osgood suggested. Perhaps he just stumbled and fell, Vanessa said, worried. Suddenly, a loud, metallic clanging echoed through the halls. Great heavens, what is that? Osgood exclaimed. The colonel marched out into the courtyard, wearing a full, rusty suit of armor that he had dragged out of the estate museum. I am off to the tournament, the colonel announced proudly. The Black Knight and I are jousting. Jousting? Vanessa repeated, horrified. Yes, he flew over the wall to engage me, the colonel explained. The poor blighter forgot his sword. So we are meeting on the field of honor to settle the War of the Roses. Nice tea. Back at the Clampett house, Jed was still trying to keep the peace. But Jed, I cannot send Granny as guerrillas back to civilian life, Granny argued. I got them all worked up to a pitch. These killers, they got a bloodlust in their eyes. Uncle Jed, Granny, Jethro shouted, running into the room with his helmet under his arm. Get everybody together. We's gonna have a joust. Oh, you caught one, did you? Granny asked, misinterpreting the situation. I got you something to eat. You do not eat it, you fight it. Well, you fight it, you clean it, you cook. Granny, I am gonna have a joust with the Green Knight, Jethro explained excitedly. Let him clean it and cook it. I got the War of the Roses to settle. This will settle it. Jousting is fighting and the Green Knight is from the next castle. Well, how did this all come about? Jed asked, thoroughly perplexed. Well, I shot Jester over the wall, and he landed on the Green Knight, Jethro said cheerfully. So now we's gonna have a joust. You say this will settle the War of the Roses once and for all?
Jed asked.
Oh, yes, sir, Jethro confirmed. That is the feudal system. Well, get ready, boy, because here he comes, Jed said, looking out the window as the colonel arrived on the lawn, holding a long wooden pole. Somebody fetch my charger and my jousting lamp, Jethro bellowed, rushing back outside. Hail to thee, Green Knight, Jethro shouted as he faced his opponent. Do not curse him, boy, just fight him, Granny urged from the sidelines. Vanessa and Osgood watched from the edge of the property, utterly embarrassed. What is that green Gumer doing? Vanessa asked. Knowing the colonel, Madam, Baldar the butler whispered, I would guess he is fortifying himself for the fridge. Oh, well, as long as it is only water, Vanessa sighed. Granny stepped forward to act as the master of ceremonies, shouting to the gathered crowd of handymen and onlookers. Ladies and gentlemen and rabble, in this corner we have a boy from your own castle. A boy fighting to end the War of the Roses. A boy fighting to save the family name and your own necks. The ever-popular Black Knight from Bog Tussle. Let us hear it for him. The small crowd gave a lukewarm cheer. In this corner, Granny continued, pointing to the colonel, appearing for the first time without his cannon, a man after your own hearts as well as your livers and other vital organs, the notorious Yellow Knight. I mean the Green Knight. Never do it, Osgood muttered under his breath. Take a bow, Greenie, Granny commanded. Now, answer below the belt. And when you get run through, stay down till the count of 8. It hurt, do you? Jethro asked, suddenly looking a bit nervous as he lowered his visor. If Master Jethro can survive the catapult, he can survive the colonel, Baldar whispered to Osgood. Well, what about him? Osgood asked, looking at his father-in-law. What kind of shape is he in? Mr. Clanton, the shape that he is in, I guarantee you he will not feel a thing, Baldar said, nodding toward the colonel, who was swaying slightly from his liquid breakfast. On your mark, get set, charge, Granny shouted. The two knights waddled toward each other in their heavy armor. They collided with a soft thud, and both immediately fell flat on their backs, unable to get up due to the weight of their suits. No, sir, not for hundreds of years, Osgood remarked, checking his watch. I figured, Jed agreed, walking over to the fallen warriors. 1, 2, get up, Jethro. 3, 4. I am not blowing the wind out of you. Lie down, Greenie. You are a sick man.
6.
You are going to be sicker than he is.
7.
As a doctor, I am warning you. Jethro, I am warning you. All she needs, the wind. Jethro, I told you, I want him in one piece. Ellie, do not. Ellie Mae rushed over to help unlatch Jethro's helmet. Good luck, they are all down the garden. Meanwhile, a limousine pulled up to the front gate. Milburn Drysdale hopped out, frantic, followed by an older actress dressed in an incredibly elaborate, historically inaccurate Elizabethan gown, complete with an enormous white ruff collar. Her Majesty is still sulking, Drysdale whispered to an assistant. Let her sulk. Let us get the throne set up. It is just that Elizabethan costume makes her look ridiculous, the assistant complained. Listen, Greenie, Drysdale snapped. Think how ridiculous it will make you look in the unemployment line. Back on the lawn, the colonel was still stuck in his armor, making strange gurgling noises. He is trapped in there, Osgood observed. How do you think he is? Jed, if I did not know better, I would swear he was fermenting, Granny said, sniffing the air near the colonel's helmet. Jethro, you do not pillage my knight, Vanessa warned, stepping in front of her father. I am no shape at all. I will get you another one, Jethro offered politely. Ellie, maybe you had better let Jethro get you another one, Jed suggested to his daughter. She can have this one too, Osgood joked, pointing to his father-in-law. He is as spoiled as a war. He is already spoiled, Granny agreed. Get some water, I will bring him around. Yeah, Jed said, handing Granny a bucket that Jethro had brought from the kitchen. Granny took a sniff of the liquid and frowned. Jed, if this is water, we gotta find the creek it come from. Now that is what you call water, Jethro insisted. Are you sure? Jed asked. Distilled water, Jethro clarified. Rennie, it is for him, Vanessa said, pointing to her groggy father.
Yes.
Just then, Mr. Flavisham came running down the garden path, his face pale with excitement. Mr. Flavisham, the Queen is here. The Queen? Jed asked. Not the new one, sir, the old one, Flavisham gasped. The old Queen? Elizabeth I. Jethro, have you been at the cooking sherry? Jed asked, looking suspiciously at his nephew. No, sir, Jethro protested. I heard words from the garden tower. I saw Her Majesty. Queen Elizabeth I? Yes, sir, ascending her throne. Something the matter, Mr. Domo? Jed asked the butler. Not really, sir, Flavisham stammered. No, the excitement of the day has been a bit much, potentially. But I did see the Queen.
You did?
Jed asked. Yes, sir, in front of the castle, Flavisham confirmed. Oh, good. I have been expecting her, Jed said, smiling warmly. I am going to give her back the deed to Canada. The deed to Canada? Osgood muttered, completely lost. Yeah, I bought it last week. What is it all about, mate? Never mind, Drysdale whispered, rushing onto the scene and handing out banknotes to the bewildered staff.
Pass it on.
Mr. Drysdale says there is a quid in it for every